July 20th, 2012, in Aurora, Colorado. A midnight showing of Batman Dark Knight Rises. A 24-year-old person named James Holmes walks into the movie theater, killing 12 people and injuring 70. Nobody expected the gunman. Why? Because there's a law against guns being in a movie theater. Everyone assumes that everyone else will listen to these rules. The problem with that is criminals do not follow the rules. And next time, it could be you in front of that individual. Besides from my research that points to undeniable statistics, I grew up in a household of guns. Being taught early on the safety benefits of owning guns outweighs what the media portrays. I want you all to listen and think about my speech and make your own educated decision about how you feel about guns. A shooter makes a very good assumption that everyone else will be obeying the rules, leaving them to be the only one with a weapon. People are being misled into believing guns are the problem and banning guns will fix the crime and homicide rates. This is totally false. Governments enforcing gun controls by banning guns is not solving the crime and homicide rates as we would like to believe, but instead is increasing these rates. If we continue to enforce laws on banning guns, we may be putting ourselves in more damage than before with how the laws are now. The Justice Department found the criminal's biggest fear is being shot while committing a crime. 70% of felons look for an empty house as their target because they're afraid of being shot. 50% of felons are more worried about running into an armed citizen than a police officer. If we take away the guns, we take away their fear. In 1976, Washington, D.C. put out a new law that bans all handguns. That was overturned in 2008 because the murder rate average was 73% higher with the gun ban law than without. Chicago passed a similar handgun law. That's my hometown where I'm from. And the percent of murders by handguns was 40 to 55% before the ban. While the ban was in place, the handgun murder rate increased up to 70%. Chicago overturned that law in June of 2010. Florida's homicide rates fell 52% over a 15-year period where permits were made available. The last statistic comes from a town called Kennesaw, Georgia. It is law there that every household has at least one firearm. Burglary rates dropped 89% when this law was enforced. The statistical data shows and proves that media has a very one-sided view when it comes to gun control and distorts the real facts. Because many people are simply uneducated on the topic of guns, and the media exploits this notion, we are scared of what we do not know. When is the last time you heard that gun saved someone's life on the news? Very rarely. 8 to 1. 99 anti-gun stories to 12 pro-gun stories. Is the news really showing us everything? Most media people think there is only one legitimate point of view. Failure to maintain studies, findings, and additional judiciary opinions that support the opposing view of pro-guns. Here in Phoenix, a 14-year-old boy shot an intruder. He was babysitting his younger brother and sister, ages 8 and 12. It was 4:30 p.m. on a Saturday. As stated by the police, you never want to see a situation where a teenager of that age has to take a weapon and protect his family. But this young man did exactly what he should have done. As ugly as it is, and as much as his family is going through, we did not have injured children on our hands instead. By educating the public on guns and gun safety, we can start properly addressing the problem and decrease crime and murder the correct way. Have a gun safety education mandatory as part of a school curriculum. This is called Eddie the Eagle, and he's a program that's taught in about 800 schools right now from kindergarten to 6th grade. Wisconsin, Oregon, and New York are also trying to implement this bill to pass in their schools. Basically, he teaches kids and students to stop, don't touch, leave the area, and tell an adult. Education early on about guns is key. If we start teaching the public the correct info about guns, from the safety to the operations of them, there would be less of a need for these gun banning laws. The more that people are educated, the more people feel comfortable around guns, and the more people potentially would have them. And as statistical data shows, the less crime and homicides we would have. Much like sex ed, gun education will lead to safer gun handling and fewer accidents. One disadvantage would be this type of education would require an immense amount of funding, something that this country really doesn't have right now. If you aren't familiar with guns, scared or uncomfortable about them, I encourage you to sign up for a gun safety class. Glendale Community College offers them weekly. So based on the research I've shared with you, I strongly feel gun control does help much more than it harms. Placing bans is a comforting thought and it has good intentions, but statistical data and plain observation make it clear to see that pro-guns is better than anti-guns. I want you to help me keep America's gun laws as they are now by signing the petition. I will pass out after the speech. You can have that. Criminals will always find a way, a weapon, a gun, a knife, to hurt us. So why not defend ourselves with guns? Tomorrow you could be watching the news and you could see one or two things. A family of 5 defending themselves against an intruder, or a family of 5 homicide. Choice is yours. Thank you.